So this is a siphon. It's an unbroken chain of water molecules that are being pulled out from the end here, from this reservoir, by gravity. Plants, they do a similar thing, only they defy gravity because they lift water from the roots up and out through every leaf. And the main thing to note here is that it's not pushing water. This isn't a pump, there's nothing mechanical happening at all. Water in a siphon, and in plants, is actually being pulled by the exit. In this case, the end of this tube is pulling water from this reservoir because it's lower. In plants, water's moved up and out because the air's thirstier.
It's a biological siphon running upwards against gravity, powered entirely by evaporation at the leaf's surface. And this force has a name, the transpiration pull. And it is hands down one of the coolest things happening in any plant you've ever grown.
And why this should matter so much to you as the grower is because that's not fueled at all by the plant. That's fueled by the air around the plant.
Everything your plant does, every nutrient it absorbs, every process it runs, every signal it sends rides that pull. If the pull slows, then everything slows with it. Not just water movement, everything. So where does this pull happen? Where does the water actually leave the plant? On the underside of every leaf, there are tiny openings called stomata. These are the transpiration epicenter. Every drop of water that drives the transpiration pull exits through these openings.
Now, there are a few things that make the stomata genuinely fascinating and something that I think growers should really care and pay much more attention to. Because the stomata aren't just breathing out water and oxygen at the exact same time and through the exact same hole, they're breathing in carbon dioxide. Meaning the stomata are exhaust and intake of the plant. And the more we can keep our stomata open, the better our plant's gonna operate. Because when our stomata's closed, not only are we not having that transpiration pull anymore, but also we're not taking in any carbon dioxide. Our plants are not building, which means they're not growing. The other interesting thing about stomatas is they can close up if they sense, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too windy. If their surroundings not just right, then the stomata is not going to be dilated optimally. And what we're looking for is that optimal stomata dilation. That's what VPD is all about.
So the entire game, the whole job of environmental management in your grow room is really about keeping that door open, wide open, consistently, from lights on to lights off. That's it. That's really the whole job of managing your environment. And VPD, well, that's the measurement that tells you how well you're doing it. See, VPD, or vapor pressure deficit, is one thing and one thing only. The measurement of how thirsty the air is around your plant. Not humidity, not temperature, but the combination of both. It's expressed as a single number that tells you exactly how hard the air is pulling on your plant right now. Here's why that particular distinction matters. Warm air can hold significantly more water vapor than cold air. Like a lot more. Air at 80 degrees Fahrenheit can hold nearly twice the water vapor of air at 60 degrees before it reaches saturation, which actually means humidity alone tells you almost nothing useful. 50% RH at 60 degrees and 50% RH at 80 degrees look identical on a humidity sensor. They're not the same environment. The warmer air has twice the capacity, twice the thirst, twice the pull on your plant. A grower managing humidity without temperature is really only solving half the equation. The higher the VPD, the thirstier the air, the stronger the pull, the faster everything's going to move through your plant. The lower the VPD, the more satisfied the air, so the weaker the pull, the slower everything's going to move out. Most crops want a VPD range between 0.3 and 1.2 to 1.4 kilopascals. Anything outside of that range and the air is just far too wet and saturated, there's no pull at all, or it's going to be far too dry and the stomata is going to close up in defense. That window, that's your target. That's the line between good and great. And while this is super important, it's not even the part that most growers are missing. And not because they don't have the right equipment to measure it, but because they're actually measuring the wrong thing. Most growers, likely by this point, have an interface like this, a control panel that has a sensor that they set in their grow room or in their tent that tells them what their VPD is. This is great for managing ambient VPD, but at the end of the day, that's not really where transpiration's happening, is it? You need to know the VPD
precisely at the bottom of the leaf where the stomata is, because the underside of your leaf is a very different temperature than the ambient temperature in your grow room, even if it's just like a foot or two away from the plant itself. This is particularly true in grow setups with like high intensity LED lights, because those lights actually heat up the surface of the leaf significantly. So what you'll typically find is that the leaf is actually hotter and that the air is thirstier around the leaf than what the VPD is set for in your grow room. So your leaf's working a little harder than it needed to. Okay, so now you know what VPD and transpiration is, you know how important it is and where to measure it, so how do we fix this problem? Well, previously I would have said get an infrared thermometer and measure the actual temperature at your leaf, right where the stomata is on the bottom side of your leaf, and then get your grow room's humidity and punch that into a VPD calculator online if you still want to do it this way. But what I would recommend now is just using one of these, because they're only like $10 more than an infrared thermometer, and what this is an actual VPD meter. This is designed to tell you what your VPD is at the leaf source. It also fires out lasers just like an infrared thermometer does. Those lasers take temperature and humidity readings at the leaf, and then the device itself does the conversions for you, and it shows up right on the backside. Where it shows the leaf and says KPA, that stands for kilopascals at the leaf surface. And above that is the temperature at the leaf surface. And also on the left, it'll show you the ambient temperature. This is all taken from your hand, or the meter itself. And a meter like this will tell you your exact VPD. Now, if you're like me and you have a setup that's all on AI and everything's controlled by one of these AC Infinity controllers, they actually have a really cool feature that allows you to put in the offset temperature into your AC Infinity meter. And from that point forward, your controller is actually going to be calculating and targeting your actual leaf VPD automatically. It's going to be doing the conversion math and making the adjustments for you in real time, not ambient VPD, actual leaf VPD. You measure it once, you set the offset, and let the controller manage what actually matters. That's not just a small upgrade. That's the whole point of having a controller. You guys know I'm an AC Infinity fanboy. I love all their stuff, the way that it all links together. It's really just the cutting edge of grow room technology. So if you're looking for AC Infinity stuff, check out the link in my description box and use the discount code HumbleGrowth. It'll save you some cash. Stable VPD, right range for the growth stage, measured at the leaf. That's what separates good growers from great growers. And now you know the distinction. You now understand that transpiration isn't water loss, it's the entire engine that everything moves on in your plant. If transpiration slows down or stops, then everything else slows down and stops with it. You understand that the stomata is managing two jobs at once. It's the exhaust and the intake. And because of that, it might be the single most important thing on your plant. Trying to keep the stomata open is your main and only job in managing your environment in your grow room. You understand that VPD means the pull of the air on your leaf. How hard the air is pulling the water from your leaf, which is directly pulling it from the roots and moving it through the entire system. You understand that that measurement should be taken at the leaf surface and not an ambient temperature, because the leaf surface is likely a different temperature, which means just a fluctuation of a few degrees can mean a completely different appetite for the air around your stomata. And now you know what to do about all of that. And that's not just a small upgrade, that's the line. Now we've covered the engine. Next, we're gonna talk about what is moving through the engine, particularly one nutrient that moves with the water through the plant on the transpiration pool, a nutrient that I believe is the most overlooked, underestimated, and most powerful nutrient in all of plant biology. Not because it's rare or hard to source, but because what it does in your plant is absolutely extraordinary. And no one has really talked about it in a way that it truly deserves. Until now. Don't forget to check out humblegrowthhydroponics.com for a ton of free guides and resources to get you started growing. You'll also find my Amazon storefront and all of my discount codes over there too. So let's grow food, let's grow freedom, and let's grow smarter. See you in the next one. Because the exit is at the bottom of every leaf, and the source is way down here, meaning plants completely defy gravity to move water through their system. Oh, let me try to say that whole take one more time.